Hey everybody, great to see you. I'm not sure how many people we're going to get here, but it's good to see whoever is here. I know you, David, but I don't know whether I've met Camille before. And welcome to G.
Hi.
Hey, great to see you. Um, so yes, I'm not sure how many. Maybe some more people might turn up in time. We usually get just a few people to this session, but just let me give you a little bit of a background information about the shape of the conference, which Tamsin sent me this morning. So, in fact, uh, we've got about nearly 100 people at the conference actually, 50 in person, 30 online as well. And of the 100, we've got about 75 who've uploaded digital media. So if you folks, I don't know whether you're, I guess neither of you are in Austin, Texas, but there's
I
plenty of
am.
material there.
My university gave me funding to come over, which is nice.
Oh, well, Austin's a great town. So I'm not there, by the way. I'm at the University of Illinois at the moment. Um, I'm in Champaign, Illinois. That's where I work. Um, so yeah, no, great to see you all. And I just see there's another person just coming in now. Um, so what we do in this session is I give a little bit of an introduction about the conference and the journal and all the processes, and then I'll get you folks to introduce yourselves if you're okay to do that, and talk a little bit about what you're doing and what your interests are. So that's really what it's just kind of an informal get-together session. So it's great to have everybody. So this conference. I don't know, 10 years old, 15 years old. So I've looked, I've lost track of the years now.
Well, it's the 13th one, isn't it, William? Bill? It's yeah. 13th. Well, it's the 13th, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, I went to the first. I don't.
Yeah, well, it's great that you keep coming back, David. And we've got some very loyal supporters. It's a small conference that deals in a interdisciplinary way with this question of imaging, and of course, you know, there are all sorts of spaces in which you can deal with that, and the people who come to the conference deal with it in these from different disciplinary perspectives. So it's about and you know, in a way, it's the kind of issue that needs to be dealt with in an interdisciplinary way as well. So yeah, yeah, welcome Aaron. I can see you've just come in. I'm just saying there's about 100 people at the conference, 50 in person and 30 online. So it's kind of a nice smallish group. So just a little background too. I mean, we obviously during COVID we were thrown and we couldn't run the conferences. There's another person coming in as well. And one of the legacies of that time is we've built this blended model. So now we're back to having in-person conferences again, but the blended model is one where we really encourage the people who are presenting in person also to put digital media in for the online people. And we encourage the in-person people also to go to online sessions and comment. And one of the advantages, by the way, even for the in-person folks, is that, you know, there's limited discussion that's possible in a normal session. You know, one or two people put up their hands at the end and other people would like to speak as well. It's not possible. Or, you know, one person does, and but the thing about online is it's open-ended. There can be as much commenting as possible. So one thing I really want to encourage everybody to do is go to the digital versions of sessions and join the discussion. And one of the great things about the discussion setup is, you know, it's open-ended, but also it triggers, it's asynchronous. So the other people don't have to be there, but it triggers an email which alerts the presenter to come back and see what's there. So we're, you know, really encouraging you to do that. And in fact, I've got a little rule I'd like to tell everybody to listen to my rule. And the rule is, don't leave one of those online sessions without commenting, you know, because people really love to know there's somebody been there. There's a little engagement meter, but that's that tells you how many people have actually been to the page. But it's really important to kind of leave a comment as well. So that's my little introduction. We also have the journal, of course, and there's a book series there, which is all part, and I'll talk about that a bit more at the end. But anyhow, let's do some introductions. For the people who've just joined, again, I'm Bill Cope. I've been involved with this conference since it began, and I work at the University of Illinois. The area that I work in is what's called multimodal literacy. So I work in an education college, and we're really interested in the fact that in the realm of literacy, there is not much text that sits separate from image anymore. And what are the connections between text and image in any learning environment? You know, think websites, think social media, think print for that matter, think television. You know, these things, text and image are very closely connected in a whole lot of ways these days. That's the I do. So I'm going to go around the room now, and I'll just follow the tiles. So look, I'd like to introduce you to Kayla and Jill, who are there as two of our Zoom times. They do a fantastic amount of work, and they're the people who answer all the questions that you have and keep the show on the road and keep things well organized. So thank you for being here, and thank you for all the great work you do. But I'll go around the other folks and get you each to do a brief intro. And if you happen to be presenting at the conference virtually or in person, Kayla will put a link into your session into the chat. So have your chat panel open and you'll see those coming up as we go. So David, welcome back, and you must have been lots of times now, and you said you were at the first one as well. So.
Yeah, I think probably to about 9 or 10 of the sessions. You know, it's been great.
Wow. Wow.
I think amazing. Just listening to you introducing Bill, I think I articulated it on a little video that I gave to the image conference a couple of years ago or so. I'm trained in fine art and design over you know, about 4 or 5 degrees related to that, but I said that I really the important thing about the image conference to me is it's a context where we can discuss image making outside of the what I think I called at one time the dilapidated structure of art. You know, that there's so many versions of art that you know, can be described or whatever, that really you know, constrain analyzing what images are about. And it's just a lovely kind of open area, more scientific, if you like. And I think art needs to get closer to science anyway at this stage. So that's what interests me. I've spent years making images, but I also write about images and or image, and I you know, I'm doing a lot of writing these days about the image. Yep.
Fantastic, and what a great session you've got there. Do we need still need photography? Kayla's put the link there in the chat. Or are we making images in photostasis? Very provocative. I haven't looked at it yet, but I certainly will. So what a great contribution. Thanks for that. And great to see that it's 100 people at the conference, but there have already been 72 people to your page. The question is, can we get the 72 all to talk there? So everybody go and talk. So anyhow, wonderful to have you back, David, and always everything you do is thought-provoking and a great contribution to the conversation we have at this.
Good to see you, Bill.
Yeah, lovely. Okay, my next slide, the next tile, I mean, in my Zoom screen is Camille. How are you, Camille?
Not too bad, thanks. I'm fortunate enough, the University of Westminster gave me money to come across to Austin, so I'm having a nice little holiday whilst I'm here. I'm in the 4th year of my PhD with the School of Arts. I'm interested in the weaponisation of photography, how marginalised people we usually consider as image sitters are image makers in the context of online spaces. My PhD research is actually about the sex worker as image maker, the conventions, the contradictions, the constitutions of the self-portrait, and what does it mean when we start looking at visual language and visual literacy of people that we've labelled as other. I do have postdoctoral research lined up where kind of intersects through visual criminology, and that's looking at the way, it's a bit macabre, the way women who have experienced sexual violence navigate social media spaces with their rapists through the image. And I publish a lot about censorship, oppression, marginalised voices. What does the image mean in the context of otherness? Yeah, I mean, it's not the most cheery research, but it's definitely necessary, I think.
No, very, 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 very important. Yeah, no, interesting. And you know, it's these intersections of image and media and power, which are, you know, these are really, really critical issues at the moment. And great you're able to make it to Austin in person, and it's a good town. Texas is a funny place, to put it mildly, but Austin's
it's interesting being in a city where you can't walk anywhere and there's not really much public transport.
Yeah, well,
that's wonderful to walk around.
That's America for you, except New York. New York's the exception. So, yeah. Anyhow, look, I hope you enjoy it, and the campus there's a lovely campus, the University of Texas office. You know, just a little tip about Austin. I think one of the best things is the LBJ library. If you get a chance to go there, the President Johnson, the library there. Because he lived through the whole civil rights period, it ends up being quite a good kind of history of American civil rights. Actually, for me, that's one of the memorable things about Austin. If you get a chance, and it's on the university campus, so it's easy to get to. So. Okay, and the next one we have is Aaron. How are you, Aaron?
Hi there. Yeah, I am a senior lecturer at university in the UK, Sheffield Hallam University, in digital media production and photography and similar sort of programs. I'm doing a practice-based PhD whilst working full-time doing that as well, and my PhD is exploring photography in relation to advances with 3D imaging technologies, LiDAR scanning, and the agency of digital photographs with the development of big corporate sort of players and technologies sort of specialists like Apple and stuff, and how the iPhone changes the way we interact with photographs or the way we think of photographs. And I'm also particularly interested in mixed reality and augmented reality in relation to photography. So yeah.
Well, they're obviously cutting edge issues, and it connects with the word that we put in the conference theme today, which is this much vaunted word, metaverse. What do you think of the metaverse? Is it real? I know that's a silly, you know, like is it overblown? That's real.
Well, that kind of is the main question, isn't it? Is it real?
But the question is whether Zuckerberg is overplaying his hand. That's the real question, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested in those spaces being used away from the likes of Facebook. So yeah, I know. Yeah, there's a lot of investment going into it, and there's a lot of sort of opaque talk about what it is and what it's for. And I'm really exploring it from a kind of artistic point of view, but in relation to how we our psychological connections with the image, and in particular with the role images play in memory and connection. So yeah.
It's really important. By the way, are you presenting at the conference, or you're just you're
I'm
a
not.
participant?
No, I'm not. I was going to present some of my work, but because it was all online, it kind of didn't lend itself to being experienced on a screen.
Okay.
So I didn't.
No worries. That's good. Well, great to have you anyhow, and I hope you enjoy all the sessions. The next one I have going across my tiles is Ura Marina. Are you there? If you're not able to speak, don't worry. Oh, there we go. Yes. Hi, how are you? I can't
Can
hear
you
you.
hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Marina. I'm from Taiwan. I'm a university assistant professor in multimedia design department. And next January, I will do my PhD in UK as well, in England and Netherlands both. So this is this event I'm joining. It's related to my future project for PhD studies and background studies. So what I'm interested is what I teach and what I have done is filmmaking and cinema. So I have a strong interest, sorry, in filmmaking. And recently, what I reading into film and neuroscience. So this is my subject related to this publication. And it's very nice to meet you here. Yeah.
And I can see Kayla's just put the link in the chat there to your session. So yeah, which looks very interesting. Again, these questions about the edges of conventional image making, where people are doing all this creative stuff, and the neuroscience issue is certainly tremendously important ones at the moment as well that you just mentioned. So fantastic, wonderful to have you with us, and I can see 45 people have been to your page already, which is nice. Okay, and let's go now to Christian, who's on an iPhone. Maybe he can speak, maybe, or she can speak, or maybe not. Let me just say a few things about the conference. Caleb, would you mind putting in the link? Is there another one there that I haven't taken? Oh yeah, I've taken them all. Yeah. Oh, here's another one. Christian gives. Oh, there's Christian. So Christian can't speak, but look at the link there, and you'll see a little bit about him, which is gifs and emojis as art. Really interesting. I think we should ask whether we can make them into NFTs and sell them as well. No, that's a different subject. So anyhow, a little thing about the conference. Would you put in a link to the bookstore, please, Kayla, as well, while you're there? That over the years we've built up a quite substantial resource. There it is there, which is the image journal, that's the one in the front page. But could you put the bookstore as well, Kayla? So that's the introduction about the journal. So
yeah, I put the bookstore link right before the link to the journal.
I'm just looking through there, and I can see journal.
I can post it again.
It doesn't come up for me. Oh yeah, no, I can see it. Sorry, okay. I'm being slow. Thank you for that. That's great. So the other link there is a little bit about how you submit. That's the basic page, but this one here is the articles. And you can see here that over the years, we've published 405 pieces, including 12 books, 393 journal articles. So almost certainly there'll be material in there which is useful to everybody's work here. And if you use the advanced search button at the top, it actually gives you quite a good, it's quite a good way of filtering down to exactly what you might be interested in, rather than going through 400 things. So one of the things, one of my other pleas that I make is please use this work and please cite it. One of the most important things in the whole academic universe is the recognition that citation involves. So please do that. And by the way, after the conference, the process is, for those folks who are new, is submit an article, and it begins a peer review process, which is a systematic way of us as a community giving each other feedback on our work and contributing to each other's success, so to speak. But you'll see there, if you scroll through that, there's some quite wonderful material there, which would be, I'm sure, of great value. Please use that resource. So Christian, we were just doing intros a moment ago, and I don't know whether you introduce yourself quickly. Kayla put a link into your session, but yeah, go for it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for including me in this conference. And I think a link has been already included in my presentation, a little bit described, but I teach at the University of Michigan Flint. I'm a professor in the art and performing arts department, and I teach art and art history. So this work that I'm presenting is from basically the last couple of years of research I've been doing in image making, as well as I've evolved it into making GIFs as well, based on the images I'm making, and seeing if they're presented as one artwork, a two-part artwork, how that is received by the viewer, whether it changes the meaning of each part of what we're looking at. And it has to do with some former work done by other artists who try to combine different art forms, such as Robert Rauschenberg back in the day, and with his combines. And so that's where my inspiration for what my current work is doing. And so I'll tell more about it at the conference. But that's a little bit.
You're in Austin as well?
No, I teach in Flint, Michigan, at the University of Michigan, Flint.
Are you at the actual physical conference or the online conference?
I'll be in Austin today. I'm flying out later today.
Wonderful. I'm pleased to hear that. And of course, everyone who's online as well, that's wonderful as well. So fantastic. So I'll go back, because a couple of people came late, I'll go back over some of the stuff I said at the beginning about the way the conference is organized. So okay. We've got about 100 people at the conference. About 30 or so of those are online, but we really encourage the people who are there in person also to put in digital media for the sake of the online people, but also because the digital media is a space where you can have discussions and make comments. You can even be in the session and be talking about the session. So and there's less constraint for discussion in the online space. And a practical thing is that even though that's the other person's not there live, it does trigger an email for them to come back. So it's not as if they have to go back looking to see whether there's a comment. If you make a comment, it will trigger an email to the conference, the presenter in that session. So they're the main things. Main things are the conference, the journal. We're always looking to publish books as well. We've got quite a nice book series there. So, and it's about building a knowledge community around this interdisciplinary question of images, and hoping that we can spark off each other's work and ideas. So that's really what these knowledge communities are about. So does anybody have any questions you'd like to ask? Kayla and Jill, important things I should have said that I haven't. Okay, well, I hope you all enjoyed the conference, whether it's interacting online or in person, or in the case of those who are in Austin, please make it both online and in person. We're trying to build this idea of a blended event. So yeah, this is the way of the world now. So we post-COVID, we have to do these things, and in a way, the nice thing about it is it gives people access. People who can't travel, it's expensive to go from one side of the world to the other, or even from another state. So it's time-consuming, expensive. So some people can do it, and some people can't. So we're hoping to be more inclusive with this blended model going forward. One of our COVID legacies for Common Ground. So, okay. Well, if there are no further comments or thoughts or questions, I'll just say thanks for being here.
Okay.
The funny thing about conference sessions in the 21st century, people tend to wave at the end because of Zoom. So we'll say goodbye to everybody and see you around, online or in person.
Okay.
Bye, folks.
We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
See you later.
That's it.
Bye.